And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
And we're back here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, my good friend Pastor Lindsey Williams from here in Arizona in Fountain Hills, east part of the valley here. And, you know, we're talking about the plunge protection team. I give you a picture here, and it's called the President's Working Group on Financial Mark, blah, 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 blah. And I'll tell you when this first came up. It was during the 2008 presidential election cycle when Dr. Paul, they had a debate, and they were given the opportunity to ask any one of the other candidates a question. So he turns to John McCain and he says, what do you think should be the role of and how they do and open and have transparency of the president's working group on financial markets, blah, blah, blah. And he went blank. He had no idea what he was talking about. And it's the plunge protection team. And it was the look on and the babbling blah, blah, blah that John McCain did. And here's a senator, and used to be a congressman and a senator for a long time. He's in running for president, and he had no clue what he was talking about. As we were watching this, I called Pal, the senior editor at Freedom's Phoenix, and I said, you know, that's important. Whatever it is, I have no idea what he's talking about, but we need to find out. Within 10, 15, 20 minutes, we had up on Freedom's Phoenix, you know, that I knew it was going to be huge. Well, what it is there is a secret little group that has these big dials that they get to turn on the economy, on the market, on what they control. Who makes up the plunge protection team is like the head of the commodities market, the New York Stock Exchange, and the Treasury Secretary, and, you know, these kind of guys. And they really run the markets. They do. So what you're saying, Lindsey, is that these guys somehow they have their hands on the stock market. They're playing games doing what? What do you think's going on?
This group of people, there positively is a group of people on the face of the earth who control the world. This is what changed my life when I lived with these people, is to find out that this group literally exists. Now, for 35 years, many people have laughed at me. Now they're beginning to believe me. So now that Mr. Fromm, this elitist, has passed away, I'm free to say a lot of things that I was never able to tell before. And that's the reason that I'd like to tell you the next 6 months' plan of the elitist. I'm preparing it just today. That's right. I have seen what's happened with the Federal Reserve report on yesterday, with the COMEX report, with what's taking place, the very thing that you gave on the before the program today. Russia and China, folks, you have got to know the relationship of the elite with Russia and China. Can you imagine Walmart with nothing on their shelves marked made in China? Oh, yeah, this is a reality. You cannot imagine how close this is. The date of the Middle East crisis, they want a Middle East crisis within the next 4 to 5 months. Can you imagine where your money went to when the Federal Reserve gave it away? Well, I'm going to tell you. It was literally given, and mortgage-backed securities, do you have the slightest idea when this hits the fan, along with all the other things that are taking place in the ownership? The elite are literally going to own every piece of mortgage real estate in the United States of America, both commercial and residential. I give every one of these pointers in my new presentation. Now, I held off till the end, Ernest. Please, folks, I beg of you to call this number. It's toll-free. The number is 888-799-6111. 6 hours of DVD viewing. 8 hours of DVD viewing on 6 DVDs, plus this new presentation that I'm making today of everything that the elite have told me. I can say it now that this man has passed on. I'm going to tell you things that's going to startle you as to what their plans are, what you can expect, and this way you can make preparations at your household. Again, my toll-free number, please call and get this presentation that I'm making just today along with my 6 DVDs. The number is 888-799-6111, or if you wish to, you can go on the web to prophecyclub.com. That's prophecyclub.com. Now, if you happen to call them, Tell them that you want the presentation I'm making today. My operators out there, I didn't even have time to call them this morning before I went on your program, Ernest. So much is happening this morning. I was listening to everything I could catch everywhere about what the Federal Reserve said yesterday. I didn't even have time to call my operators this morning. You just tell them that you want the presentation Lindsey Williams said on the air he was making today. You must know what to do about food supply for your home, your dinner table. You need to know where gasoline prices are going. Many of you will remember right here on the Ernest Hancock Show, I said 2 years ago that I'd just been told by one of these elitists that the price of crude oil is going from $147 a barrel to $50 a barrel in 60 days. It did it exactly like he said it.
No, it did. I remember you saying that.
It's going back up to $150 to $200 a barrel, Ernest.
Well, this is how much of that is inflation, and how much is it's so manipulated that you can't really have any kind of a planning for the future. You can't. I can see why. One of the things, we had a video up today on Freedom where a gentleman was on CNBC or whatever it was, and he was saying, so many corporations, because of the way the finances are and access to credit and all this other stuff, they are accumulating enormous reserves of just cash, of money to be able to operate. Because what they had done before with their accounts, or like say your Verizon phones, you have a bunch of accounts, new people sign up and so on. You can loan or get a loan based on the future revenue of different stuff. You got contracts with people and you negotiate that. Well, they can't get access to the cash anymore. So what they do is they accumulate large bank accounts of cash. Well, inflation is just going to eat that up. What should they be doing with it? I mean, as a corporation, I don't know. I guess you could, buy back your own stock. You can go invest in gold. And so I'm not even sure how much of that is legal. But it is so messed up that it changes the way people do business, even in your own household. Because where do you put your resources? Is it food? I mean, you're saying there's not going to be a shortage of food. There's going to be a shortage of a means to buy it, or it's going to be very expensive. And it's like with fuel. We have a gas shortage, and I go, yep, go to $10 a gallon, and guess what? You're not going to be short of gas anymore. There'll be people be making some mo. They will have, be more conservative. The free market always adjusts, but because we're not in any kind of resemblance of any kind of a free market, what happens is everybody just hunkers down. They stop doing business. They move out of the U.S. They do manufacturing somewhere else. We are so bad here, and it's been so picked clean that you can't make any future decisions in business. You just can't. So what do you know about that? Have they said anything about where manufacturing is moving to, why they're leaving, how they're going to weather this out, corporations and so on? What's the plan?
Yes, he has told me all of this. In fact, I asked him that very question back about a year ago. I said, all right, you're telling me that all of these things are the timeline of the elite. And by the way, they do have a timeline. He gave me at that time their timeline. And that's the reason I could tell you today that within the next 4 to 6 months, they want a conflict in the Middle East. Now, I asked him also, I said, okay, in light of the things that you're telling me, that a plan behind closed doors that you've already made decisions on. These things will happen. Barring divine intervention, you can do nothing about what the elite are doing. It will happen. And I said, okay, in all of how do I prepare my family and spare my dinner table? He said, Chaplain, if it's written on paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. He said, our currency is gold and silver. He said, the only place that there is any protection, he said, the paper is worthless. He said, don't hold any paper stocks. He said, don't hold any gold and silver stocks in paper. He said, you hold it in your hand. He said, the only thing that is of any value whatsoever that you can be assured that will not depreciate is gold and silver. Now, I do not sell gold and silver. You couldn't buy an ounce from me if you tried to. I don't have any that I recommend. I am not saying this for this reason. You asked me what the elite said to me. And they said to me, Chaplain, there's only one place that you can spare your assets. And I said, okay, where is it going? Is it going up? Is it going down? He said it's going only one way, and he said it'll never stop. It's going to continue to go up and up and up. And Ernest, the only way that you can help spare yourself is to know what the elite are doing in advance so that you can take precautionary measures.
Lindsay, it's always a pleasure, man, getting, because everything you've been saying over these years, even though you give a timeline, it's within a month, it's within 2, it's right around the corner, it always happens, so I give you props on that, and we're sorry to hear the passing of your friend, but we're glad that you're able to give out the name now, and a lot more will come out of this. You guys stay tuned, because we have Ivan Elan from the Independent Institute coming on. We're going to be talking about what the Fed did with all your money. Yeah, it's on with somebody who to go to. I don't know. Pastor Williams, thank you very much. ProphecyClub.org. We'll be right back.